Let me. Islam, Islam, Islam. I hope everybody is doing good. It's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock in the ATL. Yes, it is. And we are going to get started in a minute. I'm just waiting to see. Mm, no, that ain't it. That ain't what I was on. I'm missing something, and it's where's it? Where did it go? I need to know where it went because I don't know where it went, but I had it, y'all. I had it. But we're gonna talk about this mental slavery today because um we're so we're so still caught up in it. I'm waiting for my people to come on so we can get into this. But this is gonna be a 2-part series. Tomorrow, if you've ever heard of the Dred Scott case, tomorrow we're gonna have an elder on here that's gonna discuss that and bring some light to what that's all about. So we could get a clear understanding of Abraham Lincoln and really what he did and how these things. Now the light, why aren't you working? And when I tell y'all, it's just like nothing wants to work for us. Come on, light, what are you doing? There it goes. So I know y'all couldn't see me, but we're gonna get into this demonstration. Maybe I had it on here then. Maybe I did have it on here. I'm not sure where I had my notes. I know I go different places for these notes, so I probably had it in here. But as I'm waiting for them to come, if they're coming, but if not, well, we'll just get into it anyway. Um, we'll get into it anyway. Yeah, there we go. Yes, we're going to be talking about mental slavery tonight, and we'll touch on some points in our circle 7. So, where is all? Yeah, it's been a day. I just came from Temple. I actually did a meeting, Islam. I went and visited with Temple 21 here in Atlanta, Georgia. It was really a good demonstration. Islam, beautiful. Islam. It was a great demonstration to be able to go and hear Grand Sheik Kenneth Brown was amazing, and Grand Governor Gates Bay. Really, really nice down in Atlanta. So that's why I came on late tonight, because I really wanted to go visit, because I really am ready to assist in the unity of us as a people. I know all temples won't come together and things like that, but just to start the work of unifying us as a people together, bringing that aspect in. So I'm excited. It's going to be good. We got a lot of great stuff coming up. So, we're going to get to it. So I just want to start this meeting. And then once the sisters come on, and anyone that wants to come on and just join in on the conversation, let me know. You could come in, join in on the conversation. Islam. So Islam, Islam, Islam. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Can we all stand as we recite our Moorish American prayer? We put up 5 fingers on the, excuse me. We turn to the east as going within. Turn to the east, symbolically, meaning going within. We put up 5 fingers on the left, 2 on the right with our heels touching one another, standing on our square. Repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation. By night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam, Islam. I would like to first rise, giving the highest praises to our Father God Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I also rise, giving the highest praises to the Mother Allah, the Mother of virtues and the harmonies of life that breeds justice, mercy, love, and right. I want to also rise and give high holy honors to all the divine prophets for all the wonderful works that they've brought unto us. Islam, yes. Bay like a Moor. Islam, yes. It is a Moor. Yeah, perfect. Yes. Title, Islam, yes. My TikTok user 284. Not sure what your name is, but yes, it is Islam. My apologies, you guys. Um, Giving honors to all of you that are here on these platforms tonight. Like I said, I know it's late, so we're going to get into this meeting. So thank you for joining me, giving honors to you all. Now for the laws. I'm going to read the laws and go over them really not fast, but go through them so we could conduct this meeting. Because I know it's late, as I said. Islam, Islam, Islam. Salvation, Allah, unity. The Moorish Science Temple of America, the Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government because by being a Moorish American, you are a part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitution of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Dred Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Dred Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Noble Dred Ali, founder. The Moorish Science Temple of America, home office of Noble Dred Ali, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islam. Now for the additional laws. For Moorish Americans by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh is the governing head of our temple. All business of said temple must be approved by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali before being acted upon by any member. Let it be finance, property, or any line of life that will cause the member to sacrifice finance, that will cause the support of any group of members. Any former officer who violates these laws is subject to be removed from his office under a heavy restriction, etc., by the Prophet or the Grand Sheikh. Act 2. All members are to attend their ADET meetings and their public meetings promptly. If a member is found standing around on their meeting period, shall be fined 50 cents on the first case, and on the second will be fined $1, which will go on your emergency fund. If member is working, his monthly dues must be paid, and if he has money in the bank, let him subscribe for as much as he is able to the Moorish Uplifting Fund, because it takes finance to uplift the nation. Act 3. It is the lawful and divine duty of every good member, if he is able in finance, to aid me in saving the nation. And if he does not, he is an enemy to the cause of uplifting his own people, and justice must catch you. Let it be he or she according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, as I have the power invested in my hands, and I will have to enforce the law in order to save the nation. Act 4. All members, while up making a public speech, must not use any assertion against the American flag or speak radical against the church or any member of any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Act 5. All members must promptly attend their meetings and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must confirm himself to the questionnaire. And let every member exercise his 5 senses who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guidance of the nation. Islam, the truth is you. Islam, you too. Islam. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are a part and partial of this said government, and know that they are not Negroes, color folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and partial of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of fallen humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his Father God, Allah. Islam, Islam, Islam family. So happy you're here. Our subject tonight is on mental slavery. And tomorrow we have a part 2, because we're going to be talking about, we're going to touch on the different types of mental slavery, because there's different types of slavery. Mental slavery is just one of them, but there's other types of slavery that go along with it. So that's why tomorrow part 2 will be, we will have our elder, which is one of my teachers. Love him, love him. He's my first teacher coming in here. He loosed the keys for me to learn, and that is brother John Keenan Bay. So he will be on tomorrow giving a demonstration about the Dred Scott case, so we can get a better, my little Lindy fell off, get a better explanation and understanding of all of that, and hear it from someone, from an elder, someone, that has been in this movement a long time. And when the elders speak, we need to listen. It's just like when wisdom speaks, you should listen. Wisdom being the mother, wisdom being the woman, listen. So when wisdom speaks, we listen. And tomorrow, I would love for you to come on if you have any questions. It would be the perfect time to ask concerns about it. But that's why we chose mental slavery as a discussion for tonight. So tomorrow will be just the same, just going into the different parts of slavery and finding out, well, what slavery did we become free from? What actually did we become free from? Any of them? Because it's more than one type of slavery, as you're going to find out tonight. So, everything starts with a thought, and we know that, right? Because in the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, we know that this is all about character building. So it's a thought-provoking organization. So thoughts. Your thoughts create it all. Your thoughts are the cause of it all. Whether it's good, bad, whatever you want to call it, it's the cause of it all. Your thoughts. And so we have to be mindful of our thoughts and where they go and how they travel. We got to be mindful of our thoughts. So, mental slavery. Many places where, Jesus is teaching the people how to obtain happiness, talking about the sacred books. We can go in this Holy Quran and find so much. To change the mind state, because slavery is a mind state. So we're going to start at, what is mental slavery? Well, everybody may know what it is, right? But mental slavery refers to the internalization of oppressive beliefs and values, leading to self-doubt, low self-esteem, and a limited sense of worth. All of that sounds like mental. All of that starts in your thoughts. All of that starts in your mind. Everything that they just said, leading to self-doubt. That's you self-doubting yourself. See, this is why we teach you how to be yourself. Well, this is why the prophet brought these lessons, to teach you how to be yourself. Low self-esteem. That starts within the mind, and a limited sense of self-worth. It can manifest in various ways, including negative self-talk and self-sabotage. Negative self-talk, we're quick to sabotage ourselves. Talk negative. I don't have this. I'm broke. I'm this. I'm that. Always the down part of us, never lifting us up. But this is why Prophet Noble Drew Ali said he had to come and lift humanity up out of the cares of the world. And when he said humanity, he's lifting a sister up. He's not lifting a brother up. He's lifting a sister up out the cares of the world, because the cares of the world are usually the heaviest on our shoulders. We're usually pulling the community up by our bra strap. Whether it's through raising the children, whatever we're doing, the sister. So this is why the prophet is lifting the sister, humanity, back up out of the cares of the world on a solid rock of salvation. It can manifest in various ways. This is why even when you're pregnant, your thoughts got to be right. As you're, when you're having this intercourse with these people, your thoughts create it all, because we create it all through our thoughts. It can manifest in various ways, including negative self-talk and self-sabotage, fear of failure and rejection, difficulty asserting one's needs and boundaries, a constant need for external validation, a belief that one is not deserving of success or happiness. This is a part of mental slavery. So people create this slavery mentally on themselves, because the slavery is a state of mind. All of this stuff is a state of mind. And until you can change your state of mind, the way you think and the way you show up, then you'll continue down the cycle of whatever you're going through, whatever you're calling to yourself, because your thoughts are the cause of it all. It's the cause of everything that's going on in your life. And that constant need for external validation. We can look all over this social media. We can look on all social media platforms, and we can see people needing external validation. That's a part of mental slavery. Feeling like you need validation from someone is mental slavery. I have 0 people on this one on Facebook, right? Facebook, StreamYard, YouTube. Nobody's watching, right? Around TikTok, I got 2 people watching right now. I done had some people pop in and out. I got 2 people watching. I'm not about to let that discourage me. Some people would most of the time be on here, oh, I don't have enough followers, I'm just going to get off. Oh, nobody's watching me, because that's looking for external validation. I'm not looking for external validation. When I'm on here, I'm doing this, especially for me, because I be needing help. So if it's to come on so I can go back and listen to these lessons to dissect and get it in my psyche and get it within me so I can find out where I need to work on myself at. Because this movement is about character building. It's about you being responsible and accountable for your mess, your stuff, and yourself. And how well that you can unfold into such a beautiful flower if you give yourself a chance and give yourself time and raise yourself up out of this slavery. Because the prophet said, I brought you everything to save a nation. Now save yourself. So when I was talking about your mind, and these are seeds, so your thoughts, you plant seeds in your thoughts. So that's the soil that you're planting it in. The thoughts that you create are these seeds. You're putting these seeds in the soils of your mind. Or we'll say under the, and then it don't necessarily get all the way down under the rocky soil of your brain, but it starts to go down in there and it starts to manifest. So I'm going to read about a seed in chapter I of the Holy Quran of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. In chapter I, or chapter 1, the creation and this is the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. So instructions mean within. Construction, out, instruction. So it's telling you to go within yourself. So these are instructions for you. The higher you and the lower you. It's for both. Islam. Now in chapter I, I'm going to go over to now seeds are perfect. Yeah, it's perfect as the source from which they come. But they are not unfolded into life made manifest. The child is as perfect as the mother is. So man, the seed, must be deeply planted in a soil that he might grow. Unfold as does the bud unfold to show the flower. So the child is only as good as the mother is. And what does that mean? That's meaning even her thoughts through, like I said, through the whole time that we carry these children in us. Our thoughts are creating things even through them. Our thoughts are directing this birth. What our energy is bringing, this baby is feeling it. So whether we're sad, mad, happy, the baby feels all of it. And this is the first place that they're learning. This is their first school that they're learning from. So with that seed going into that soil, now you've birthed this baby. So how are you directing this child's thoughts? Are you being an example for this child to see so that they can follow a good example, so that you are planting positive seeds in their soil of their minds? Because see, you could be planting seeds and they see things around them as an example, and those are the seeds that are being planted in their mind. Not based off of just because you opening your mouth to tell them something, but these are the seeds that are being planted from the things that they're seeing, the things that they're being exposed to. So now those seeds become their thoughts. So what seeds are you even being planted around your children when they're around and as they're growing up? And then when they become adults, there's still seeds that are still growing in their thoughts. So we have to be careful, even as mothers, when we're having children, when we're in these relationships, of how we're showing up. Because our children only are going for the example. These babies only go for the example. They ain't talking about because you said it. No, well, what did you do in front of them, though? What did you do in front of them, though? So that's why it's important that we show up in that way. The human seed that came forth from the heart of Allah was full ordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul. So this human seed, which is us, that came forth from the heart of Allah, was full ordained to be the Lord of the plane of soul and of the plane of things made manifest. So those two different planes, we're on the plane of manifest now, but there's a plane of soul and there's a spirit plane. So Allah, the husbandman of everything that is, threw forth this human seed into the soul. Soul. It grew apace, and man became a living soul, and he became the Lord of all the kingdom of the soul. Hark now and let every creature hear the plane of the soul. Is but the ether of the spirit plane vibrating not so fast. And in slower rhythm of this plane, the essence of life are manifest. The perfumes and the odors, the true sensations, and the all of love manifest. That's to me, the essence of life. That's spirit life. That's spiritualness. So tapping into from that soul plane and that spirit plane, right? So this is why it's important that we watch our thoughts, because there's seeds that are going in the soil of the soul. There's seeds that are being planted in the soil of the soul. So the negative talk, we can't do that. Stop with the negative talk to yourself and the self-sabotaging to yourself, because it starts in your mind, so you're telling yourself this. So remember, the thought started first. It was the word. The word was God. The word was with God. And then the word became flesh, manifested, and was here. Even you had the written word, the spoken word, like all of this, like everything still started with a thought. So we have to watch the way we're even speaking to ourselves within. That fear of failure and rejection. No, don't. When you fear to fail, that's because you're fearing success. You're not really fearing to fail. You're fearing success and the rejection of the success. But I promise you, when you walk in faith, there's nothing to fear. And you ain't got to worry about rejection. Rejection, this is why I say this has to start with you. You have to go in and start loving you from within. This is why these are instructions and not construction. It's instruction, because you must go within yourself. A constant need for external validation. We don't need it. We don't need external validation. Like I said, we could be on these things, our teaching. Someone may grasp it, they may not. But guess what? Go back and look for it for yourself and see what maybe you said that came from the spirit plane that started you speaking on these points. Because you'll start saying stuff and it's not you speaking, it's the spirit speaking through you to man, because you got a message to get out. The roots of mental slavery. Because we just talked about mental slavery is really starting with you. You're the cause. Your thoughts are causing it. So mental slavery is a state of mind. Slavery is a state of mind. So the roots of mental slavery: historical and systemic oppression. Mental slavery often stems from historical and ongoing systems of oppression, such as racism, sexism, and classism. Yes. Ongoing systems of oppression. You get ongoing. It's not just racism, sexism, classism, and these things could be happening even in organizations and places that you are a part of. You're being oppressed by your own people. Like someone came to me, was like, "Oh, well, ain't y'all the ones that put us in?" No, I'm not the ones. I mean, I'm sure it probably was the ones that did those things. Probably a lot of people. It's a lot of people out here that do a lot of things to each other. Just because we share the same color don't mean y'all love each other like that. Because you knock each other out every day that we see it on the news. So that has nothing to do with anything. But when you understand the instructions, you walk in the instruction. You apply them to your life. Everybody don't apply them to their life. Everyone that stands up to give a sermon doesn't follow all of what the Bible tells them. So that happens across the board anywhere you go. That ain't just over here. Islam. So that oppression can come from anywhere. Whoever's being oppressed. Women are oppressed a lot. Men are oppressed. If you ain't got this or that, wear a red bottom, carry a whatever kind of purse, or drive whatever car, your classism, if it don't fit with the status quo, you looked against there too. There's oppression there too, because you ain't got it like the rest of them. Societal conditioning. We are constantly bombarded with messages that reinforce harmful stereotypes and expectations, contributing to the internalization of these beliefs. Definitely. We are constantly bombarded with messages that reinforce harmful stereotypes. They'll say, oh, yeah, because the black woman, she just angry. She's an angry woman. She's just an angry black. That's not true. Stop allowing them to put them stereotypes on us. No one should be able to come to us and talk bad about our brothers, and no one should be able to go to our brothers and talk bad about us. I know when I was married, no way. Solid who? Say what about who? No. We don't let nobody come speak bad about us. Nobody could tell me about him. Nobody could tell him about me. That's a real connection there. That's real loyalty. So we get these stereotypes, like what the brothers say when I said we should go back to polyandry. Oh, it ain't enough. It's not even enough men. That's a lie. When I look over the world, it's a lot of men everywhere. You talking about the ones just here? No, it's men everywhere. It's enough for it all. Allah don't make no mistakes. He didn't make a mistake in nature. He didn't make a mistake with us. We make the mistake by allowing the oppressor to oppress us in our minds and give us a way to think and tell us how we're supposed to think and what is going on and what the stereotype is. Oh, every Asiatic man or AKA black man is going to take your purse, or it's always these stereotypes around our people. The oppression. And then we oppress one another by thinking the same thing. Now tell me, when you drive down the street and you're in an all pale skin neighborhood, do you lock your doors? Do you roll up your windows? Do you clutch your purse? So we still be stereotyping our own people. Because you're not going to walk down in Edgewood, on Edgewood. You ain't going to go to Bankhead and do it. And even though they've re-gentrified some of these places, you're still not going to do it. So that's a part that keeps us where we're at. That's a mental slavery, even when we're looking at our own people from that lens. That's a mental slavery we're putting on ourselves because we don't love ourselves or even have enough love for ourselves to love our own. So we're scared of our own people. We be scared of our own people. Personal experience, traumatic events, negative relationships, cultural messages can all contribute to the development of mental slavery. Personal, yes. Oh my God, traumatic events. Your trauma will keep you in a mental slavery. Your trauma. It's like some people, negative relationships. So say it could be the most traumatic relationship, a negative relationship. But as much as you know that you don't need to be in it, you stay in it. But you just think it's going to get better and things are going to change. But you don't realize that's a part of being mentally enslaved. When you stay, when you know it ain't right. You know it ain't right. Whether it's a brother that know the relationship ain't right and he should just leave, or it's a sister that know the relationship ain't right, she needs to break it off. And then we just stay in these things way too long to show up for the abuse. And then wonder the trauma that we're going through is creating a mental slavery on us. So we're not deciphering truth from falsehood for nothing. Because it's so cloudy. We're allowing things to cloud our minds instead of freeing it, taking things out that don't belong, removing ourselves from situations so that we can breathe freely, so we can think freely. Because it's people around us that constantly are ciphering your energy, constantly taking it. These spirits that are around you. That's why everybody has to get out of this being so caught up in this material body and thinking that's what you're praising and that's what you're looking for. What you're looking for is within you, and it's a substance far too fine for your eyes to see. That God in you, you're not going to see that with your eyes. So whatever you're looking for to come back, whoever you're looking for to come back, you have to look within yourself for these things. You have to break the chains of mental slavery. Break every chain, break every chain, break every chain. Do you hear the chains falling? Are they still there? because it's up to you to break these chains. You might want to hear it like that, and everybody does go through their things. Hey, I've been through traumatic things too. I'm sure everyone has, some worse than others. But when do we somehow get ready to pull ourselves up out of this and say, hey, you know what? It's time to heal. It's time to really go in, and it's really time to, if I gotta purge, if I gotta cry, whatever I gotta do to let this thing go, I gotta let it go. I cannot let this keep holding on to me, because then it's stopping me from excelling. It's stopping me from ascending into my higher self. It's stopping me from getting to where I really am going. It's stopping me from getting to the point where Allah has laid out for me. He laid this path for me. I just need to follow it. Not follow the status quo, because we're so caught up in following the status quo. What looks popular, what looks fun, what's in, what's this, what's that. But it keeps our mind in a mental slavery. The impact of mental slavery from an individual level. Mental slavery can lead to anxiety, depression, substance abuse, and other mental health issues. It can also hinder personal growth and success. Societal level, mental slavery perpetuates cycles of oppression and inequality. It can limit the potential of individuals and communities, hindering social progress. The problem, the Negro problem, our problem, is a widely social and economical. It's all of that. Like, our social progress is horrible. But we have to, what ends up happening, because these cycles of oppression that we're always going through with our people. They sell you a dream. They sell you this. They sell you that. And you think, oh, this is an end all be all. You know, we have from the conscious community to the whoever. They're selling all these things. But is anybody really giving you the real recipe on how to solve these problems? Are we just coming together in a social construct to be socially important and socially famous? But it hinders our social progress through this, because we got people in everything, you know. It's because I know this and you don't. So it's I'm better than you. So you're making the next person feel less than. That can cause a lot of mental health issues and depression, because the person's not feeling like, oh, I'll probably never get there. Because you use all these big words and you use things that kind of make them say, I don't know. I don't think I'm ready for that. Like I have told y'all before, some people watch more on these platforms and say, well, I didn't think you was talking to me. I thought you was talking to just you or somebody that looks like you. Well, we're talking to all of us, because this is for all of us. This is a universal message that is to be sent out to all four corners of the earth. Not to just stay here, not just amongst people that wear turbans and fezzes, but that the world would get to know this message. The world would hear it and know what true Islam is. And true Islam is not nothing radical. It's not none of that. What they're putting in your head, that's another part of mental slavery. Trying to say that everyone associated with this, and that came from that. No. If you study Islam and you know Islam, it simply means peace. So whoever's out here creating this radical separation and saying that Islam is something else, no, Islam simply means peace. And it's a faith. Islamism is our religion because we practice Islam. We practice peace with everything. That's the goal. That's the goal for all of our lives. It's peace with everything. Peace with our brothers, our sisters, all nature, just peace with it all. So this is why it's important when we're teaching and we're coming on platforms and we're talking. We got to meet people where they are and learn to be gentle, because our first principle is love. So we should be moving in love no matter what they're saying and how they're saying it, because maybe they don't catch it. Maybe they don't get it. They may be asking questions, but you're taking the question they're asking and you're offended by it, instead of taking the time to hear what's being said or find out what they're really asking you and take the time to really give them an answer in an intelligent tone. Because we're supposed to even answer our brothers and sisters in an intelligent tone, not in an angry way or like I'm answering you like I'm better than you, like, oh, you didn't know that. We have to show up different because we keep putting our people, and it's the prophet said that your own will put you back in slavery. Your own people will put you back in slavery. The mental slavery, they'll keep you in it because they're going to keep you in a circle, so you'll keep following them. And you'll keep following them and following them. And you're just in there, you're in their will. You ain't moving on your will, you moving on their will. You're not moving on your own will. So that's why in chapter 12, when it talks about, and that was the chapter that came out of the Friday Holy Day today. Came out of Jesus teaches the common people at a spring, tells them how to obtain eternal happiness. This eternal happiness has to come from inside, but it takes some work to reach eternal happiness. Like it takes work to get to the pinnacle of wisdom. I'm going to go, let's see. We're going to go here because these are thoughts in these people's minds in this chapter. The divine instructions from the Holy Prophet. And I know I just read it, but it does. All these chapters are amazing, y'all. Let me tell you, every chapter in this Holy Quran is amazing because it's a check on yourself. Literally. You might not like what it's saying, but you're going to find yourself in it. You're going to find yourself in each one of these chapters. Jesus tells the common people at a spring, tells them how to obtain happiness, eternal happiness. In silent meditation, Jesus sat by a flowing spring. It was a holy day, and many people of the servant caste were near the place. And Jesus saw the hard-drawn lines of toil on every brow. So they are frowning. Every brow is frowning. In every hand. There was no look of joy in any face. Not one of all the group could think of anything but toil. And Jesus spoke to one and said, why are you all so sad? Have you no happiness in life? Have our people no happiness in life? Because the mental slavery is real around this bad boy. Have you no happiness in life? Can you find anything that brings you any kind of happiness and joy? The man replied, we scarcely know the meaning of that word. We toil to live. We work to live like you doing now, working just to live. I just left the grocery store. I didn't buy but 5 items. That wasn't even big items, and it was $30. I'm like, whoa. This back in the day, like a year or two ago, was $12. Crazy. We toil to live and hope for nothing else but toil. And that's real. We toil to live and we hope for nothing. Man, I need a job. Oh, I'm going to need a second job. Oh, I need a third job. I need some more money. Oh, my. And hope for nothing else but toil. And bless the day when we can cease our toil and lay down and rest in Buddha's city of the dead. Excuse me. And Jesus' heart was stirred in pity with love for these poor toilers. And he said, toil should not make a person sad. Men should be happiest when they toil. When hope and love are on back of toil, then all of life is filled with joy and peace. And this is heaven. Do you not know that such a place is for you? So toil should not make a person sad. When you're working, when you're doing something you love, I love doing hair. It makes me so happy when I'm able to be in my element and it's just a flow all day. And it's just a flow. I'm happy. I'm happy toiling that way. You should be happiest when you toil. You shouldn't be so upset because you have to toil. Because you got to toil even in building yourself up and changing your mind state. You got to change your mind state. They was toiling hard because their thoughts were just, that's all they could think about. That's it. So he says, toil should not make a person sad. Men should be happiest when they toil. When hope and love are back of toil, then all of life is filled with joy and peace. Do you know that such a heaven is for you? The man replied, of heaven? We have heard of heaven. We heard of it. Everybody's heard of heaven. Of heaven? Hey, we don't heard of heaven. We heard about it. But when it's so far away and we must live so many lives before we can reach that place. And Jesus said, my brother, man, your thoughts, here we go with the seeds of what you plant in your mind. These seeds, this mental slavery, this state of mind. My brother, man, your thoughts are wrong. Your heaven is not far away. It is not a place of meets and bounds. It is not a country to be reached. It is a state of mind. It's a state of mind. Heaven's a state of mind. Okay? Allah never made a heaven for man. He never made a hell. We are creators and we make our own. This is what I'm saying. You put yourself in mental slavery. Even when you think that this thing is still existing, it's you mentally enslaving yourself with your thoughts. You're mentally enslaving yourself with your thoughts. Now cease to seek for heaven in the sky. Now stop looking for this in the sky and just open up the windows of the heart. And just like a flood of light, a heaven will come and bring a boundless joy. Then the toil will be no cruel task. When you start looking for heaven within self, then you find happiness. You find joy when you start looking within and stop looking on the outside saying, ooh, this shiny thing and this ring and these things that are just outer appearances that they go away. They're illusions and they pass away. They're no longer there. The people were amazed and gathered close to hear this strange young master speak. Remember, Jesus was 12. He was 12 when he started teaching, imploring him to tell them more about the Father God, Allah, about the heaven that men can make on earth, about the boundless joy. And Jesus spoke a parable. He said, a certain man possessed a field. The soil was hard and poor, but by constant toil, he scarcely could provide food to keep his family from want. One day, a miner who could see beneath the soil in passing on his way saw this poor man in his unfruitful field. He called the weary toiler and said, my brother, know you not that just below the surface of your barren field, rich treasures lie concealed? You plow and sow and reap in a scanty way, and day by day you tread upon a mine of gold and precious stones. This wealth lies not upon the surface of the ground, but if you will dig away the rocky soil and delve down deep into the earth, you need no longer till the soil for naught. You need no longer till the soil for naught. You have to come up in here, hunty. You got to go deeper. You can't surface level in trying to find self. You can't surface level when you're toiling, when you need to go in as this miner and go beneath the soil. You can't be lazy. The man believed, the wealth lies not upon the surface of the ground, but if you will dig away the rocky soil and delve down deep into the earth, you need no longer till the soil for naught. The man believed. The miner surely knows. The miner, I'm going to still say your mind. The miner surely knows. And I will find the treasures hidden in my field. And then he dug away the rocky soil, and deep down in the earth, he found a mine of gold. And Jesus said, the sons of men are toiling hard on desert plains, and burning sands and rocky soils, are doing what their fathers did, not dreaming they can do aught else. So see, our minds keep us in this mental slavery because you might have looked at your dad and your mom and your grandfather and those generations before and talked about how hard it was on them. And so you say, I got to work because they worked. Well, they worked 5 jobs. I'm working 5 jobs. Well, they did this, so I got to do this. Not realizing you can do aught else. Because our forefathers were amazing. They were of greatness. We can do other things. We can do all things through Allah who strengthens us, the Allah within us. Behold, a master comes and tells them of a hidden wealth that underneath the rocky soil of carnal things, underneath the rocky soil of these carnal things, are treasures that no man can count. So as we constantly are looking upon this and we're all into this physicality and this material world, that ain't a treasure. These treasures can't even be counted. once we go up under this rocky soil of carnal things. There are treasures that no man can count. And you rather not have those treasures? You rather have these treasures on this earth plane? You rather deal with these treasures? When you can elevate and go within and get treasures of Allah. The gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah. Islam. That in the heart the richest gems abound, that he who wills may open the door and find them all. And then the people said, make known to us the way that we may find the wealth that lies within the heart. Where's the closest place you can meet Allah? In the heart. It's not your physical heart. It's closer than your jugular vein. So it's more in the mind. You can meet him closer in the mind and your thoughts, the minor. That's where you meet Allah. You meet Allah in your thoughts, in that higher essence, in that higher self. And even your thoughts are far too fine for fleshly eyes to see. Can you see your thoughts? Please tell me, can you see your thoughts? And Jesus opened the way. The toiler saw another side of life, and toil became a joy. Toil became a joy for them when you find the way. But if nobody's ever given you the full recipe and the solution to get to the way, they just come out here and say things, and you don't know what they're talking about. Well, what do they mean? We gotta help you. This is why it's good to assist our brothers and sisters. That's why when you hear me say Acts 6 says, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people, that's each and every one of you out here, our people, their nationality and divine creed. We're not just teaching you about your nationality, we're teaching you about your divine creed, your divinity. Because you have an earthly salvation and a divine salvation. Some just have earthly salvations. And so only thing they getting is what's here on earth. But when you have an earthly and divine salvation, that's the only way you can learn about this divine and earthly salvation, the divine one especially, is through this. You learn more about your earthly salvation, how you can have this heaven that you asked for right here on earth. You don't have to wait until you pass away to go here to find that. Nah. This heaven is within you. It starts in your mind. Your mind, your thoughts are the cause of it all. Your thoughts are the cause of it all. So I want to read another chapter in this Circle 7 to where we could talk about these seeds too and why it's important. This is why we have to be constant in what we're doing, consistent. We got to be stable. We got to let go of the weakness and the misery so that we can reach certain points of life, right? And so I want to come, let's see, where is it? It is, no, that's not it. Hold on 1 second. I want to come out of the chapter of Pinnacle of Wisdom. The Pinnacle of Wisdom. I always say the heart. This right here, this physical heart, is the pinnacle mountain on which the devil tempts Jesus. Right in here. All right, Islam. The divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 39. 3 and the 9 is a 12. We take it back to the 3. That's the Mother, the Father, and the Son. We're going to give it that. The divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, chapter 39, holy instructions from the prophet, pinnacle of wisdom. Now, pinnacle, the most successful point, the culmination. As the eye of the morning to the lark, as the shade of the evening to the owl, as the honey to the bee, or as the carcass to the vulture. Even such is life unto the heart of man. Though bright, it dazzleth not. Though obscure, it displeaseth not. Though sweet, it cloyeth not. Though corrupt, it forbiddeth not. Yet who is he that knoweth its true value? Learn to esteem as it ought, then art thou near the pinnacle of wisdom. I call that the Ma'at degree, the pinnacle, the balance. That's the balance measure. Are we balanced? Think not with the fool that nothing is more valuable, nor believe with the pretended wise that thou oughtest to condemn it. Love it not thyself, but for the good it may be of to others. This pinnacle of wisdom. Wisdom. Wisdom speaks out of the highest planes of life. Wisdom speaks from the highest plane of life. So when I'm talking pinnacle, this pinnacle of wisdom, when you hear me saying, think not with the fool that nothing is more valuable, nor believe with the pretended wise that thou oughtest to condemn it. Love it not thyself, but for the good it may be of to others. That's wisdom. Gold cannot buy it for thee. Can't buy no wisdom. Neither mines of diamonds purchase back the moment thou hast now lost it. Wisdom. Employ the succeeding ones in virtue. Say not that it were best not to have been born, or if born that it has been best to die early. Neither dare thou to ask of thy Creator, where has been the evil, had I not existed? Good is thy power, the one of good is evil, and if thy question be just, lo, it condemneth thee. Would the fish swallow the bait if he knew the hook were hidden therein? Would the lion enter the toils if he saw that they were prepared for him? So neither were the soul to perish with this clay, neither would a merciful Father have created him. No hence thou shalt live afterwards. As the bird enclosed in the cage before he seeth it, yet teareth not his flesh against his sides, so neither labor thou vainly to run the state thou art in, but know it is allotted thee, and be content with it. Though its ways are uneven, yet they are not all painful. Accommodate thyself to all, and where there is the least appearance of evil, suspect the greatest danger. That's wisdom. We're still talking about wisdom here. This is why these seeds are important, to keep you out of mental slavery, because if you got wisdom, you won't fall into it. When thy bed is straw, thou sleepest in security. But when thou stretch thyself on roses, beware of the thorns. A good death is better than an evil life. Strive therefore to live as long as thou outest, not as long as thou canst. While thy life is to others worth more than thy death, it is thy duty to preserve it. Complain not with the fool of the shortness of thy time. Remember, thy days, the cares, with thy days, the cares are shortened. Take from the period of thy life the useless part of it, and what remaineth? If you take away the useless parts of your life, what remains there? Take away from the period of thy life the useless parts, and what remaineth? Take off the time of thy infancy, thy second infancy of age, thy sleep, thy thoughtless hours, thy days of sickness, and even at thy fullness of years. How few seasons hast thou truly numbered? He who gave thee life as a blessing shortened it to make it more so. To what end would longer life have served thee? Wishes thou to have had an opportunity of more vices? Is that why you would like to live longer? So you have more vices? As to the good, will not he who limited thy span be satisfied with the fruits of it? To what end, O child of sorrow, wouldst thou live longer? To breathe, to eat, to see the world? All this thou hast done often already. Too frequent repetition? Is it not tiresome? Or is it not superfluous? Superfluous, excuse me. Wouldst thou improve thy wisdom and thy virtue? Alas, what art thou to know? Or who is it that shall teach thee? Badly thou employest the little thou hast. Dare not, therefore, to complain that the more is not given thee. Right. Oh, that's that slothfulness. That's where I go, this slothfulness. Badly thou employest the little thou hast. Dare not, therefore, to complain that the more is not given thee, because you ain't putting the work in. Even when it comes to pulling ourselves out, getting our earthly salvation, our divine salvation, it takes work. You can't be lazy in this thing. You cannot be lazy in this thing. It takes work, because it takes work to get us out of the condition we're in. Our people are still in a mental slavery because they're still looking for somebody to come and save them. That's how you know people are still in a mental slavery. No matter where they're at, organizations and all, they're still in a mental slavery because they're looking for a person, not an energy. They're looking for a person to come back. And this is spirit. Spirit don't die. So what are y'all looking for? In what aspect are you looking for it? Because spirit does not die. It just transforms. That's it. It's energy. So what do you mean? The prophet's still here. That energy never left. That spirit still reigns. And it could be a 1 body, 2 body, 3 body, 4 body, 50 bodies, 1,000 of them. And it don't matter. It don't have to go back and wait to be reborn from a baby. It can move as it pleases. Islam, that's the power. That's the force behind the power. Excuse me, Islam, the force behind the power. Repine not at thy want of knowledge. It must perish within the grave. Be honest here. Thou shalt be wiser hereafter. Say not unto the crow, why numberest thou 7 times thy Lord? Or to the fawn, why art thy eyes to see my offspring 100 generations? Are these to be compared with thee in the abuse of life? Are they rituous? Are they cruel? Are they ungrateful? Learn from them. Rather, that innocence of manners are the paths of good old age. Man, thank you for manners, Grandma. Thank you for manners, Mom. Because a lot of people don't have no manners. A lot of people don't have no manners. They don't wipe their feet. They come in your house. They don't wash their hands before they go in your kitchen. They walk in the house and don't speak to nobody. People real. They manners be off. But that innocent of manners are the paths of good old age. Knowest thou to employ life better than these? Then less of it may suffice thee. Man who dares enslave the world when he knows he can enjoy his tyranny but for a moment, what would he not aim at if he were immortal? To me, the colonizer ain't gonna end it till we end it. Enough hast thou of life, but thou regardest it not. Thou art not in want of it. O man, but thou art prodigal. Thou threwest it lightly away, as if thou hadst more than enough, and yet thou repinest that it is not gathered again unto thee. Know that it is not abundance which make rich, but economy. Remember I said we're social and economically messed up. So it is not abundance which maketh rich, but economy. Look up the word if you're not sure of what economy really means. The wise continueth to live from his first period. The fool is always beginning. Labor not after riches first, and think thou wilt afterwards enjoy them. He who neglected the present moment throweth away all that he has. As the arrow passes through the heart, while the warrior knew not that it was coming, so shall his life be taken away before he knoweth that he has it. What then is life that man should desire it? What? Breathing that he should covet it? Is it not a scene of delusion, a series of misadventures, a pursuit of evils linked on all sides together? In the beginning, it is ignorance. Pain is in the middle, and sorrow is its end. As one wave pushes on another, as one wave pushes on another, till both are involved in that behind them. Even so succeedeth evil to evil. In the life of man, the greater in the present swallow up the lesser in the past. Our terrors are real evils. Our expectations look forward into impossibilities. Fools to dread as mortals and to desire as if immortal. What part of life is it that we should wish to remain with us? Is it youth? Can we be in love with outrage, licentiousness, and temerity? Licentiousness is promiscuous and unprincipled. Temerity means excessive confidence. So, can we be in love with outrage, licentiousness, which is promiscuous, unprincipled, and temerity, excessive confidence? Because we can look across the world and see that now. Some people just have some excessive confidence, but it's not a noble confidence. It's not right. Like, are we in love with that? Then we are fond of infirmities. We are fond of infirmities. It is said, gray hairs are revered, and length of days in honor. Virtue can add reverence to the bloom of youth, and without it, age plants more wrinkles in the soul than on the forehead. Virtue can add reverence to the bloom of youth, and without it, age plants more wrinkles in the soul than on the forehead. Is age respected because it hateth riot? What justice is in this, when it is not the age that despises pleasure, but pleasure that despises age? Be virtuous while thou art young, so shall thy age be honored. Sometimes, and that one, that's a 33 too. Is age respected because it hateth riot? That's a question. What justice is in this, when it is not the age that despises pleasure, but pleasure that despises age? You can see that with brothers. They swear because a woman that got older, oh, I got to go find me a younger one, because that's where your pleasure's at. But be virtuous while you're young. If you're virtuous while you're young, so shall thy age be honored. And that goes from both sides. I can say women and men. Don't think because you done got old, now they ain't good enough for you because they done got older. So you think you got to move to something younger. No. What you in love with? You in love with that outrage and licentiousness and temerity, because that's what that sounds like. That you're in love with that when you do those things. So then we got to ask ourselves, how we break free from mental slavery? How do you break free from this mental slavery? Because like I said, people come out here and we give all the tea and all the this and give you this, and no one gives a solution. So how do we break free from mental slavery? These are some notes. Self-awareness. Recognizing the presence of mental slavery is the first step towards liberation. Self-awareness, like within self. Are you self-aware that this is going on inside of you? Self-awareness. Challenging negative beliefs. Actively question and challenge negative thoughts and beliefs about oneself. So actively question and challenge these negative thoughts, even if it has to be within yourself, of like, why you think like that? Like, what would have made me think that way? And why? Like, what am I in? What's around you? What's causing this energy? Start looking around you to see what's causing you to feel this way. Because maybe in that environment and in that space, you need to move yourself out of that space in order to free your mind, so the negative thoughts can go. Because then you start believing these negative thoughts about yourself. Building self-esteem. Focus on personal strengths and accomplishments. So what are your strengths? Like personally, what are those strengths? Even just jot them down. You may not know per se. You might say, I can pick 100 pounds up. Ooh, I can lift 325. Put it on there anyway until you say, well, my personal strengths are helping people, communicating, teaching this, active in that. Then you can see even from that point. But maybe just point out those personal strengths on this carnal level, whether it's lifting weights or whatever. But then start going in and tapping into what those personal strengths are inside of you. Those personal strengths inside of you, because you have an inner you. That soul resides within you. You're on this earth plane, but remember, there's a soul plane and a spirit plane. There's still two more planes. That soul plane, it's within you. It resides in there. It's just a substance far too fine for fleshly eyes to see. Seeking support, talking to a therapist. Nothing wrong with going to a therapist, y'all, or joining a support group that can provide valuable tools and guidance. Support groups are usually free. Most support groups are usually free. Now, therapists may cost, but you might find some therapists that can give you some pro bono stuff. But there's nothing wrong. Look, Asiatic people, aka Black people, ain't nothing wrong with going to the therapist. There's nothing wrong with it. We all need help. I can't wait till I can afford me one, because I'm going. I want to go sit on somebody's couch so they could, because maybe I'm missing something. You know what I'm saying? So don't think that just because somebody says that does not mean you crazy. But we all need it. We all need it. Ain't none of us all right. So we all need it. Because that can provide valuable tools and guidance. Activism, engaging in social justice work can help break down systematic barriers and empower others. That can help you too. It can help release you from that when you're around other people that are uplifting and, oh yes, and let's do this, and they're very active in what's going on. That can help us relieve us from mental slavery too. Because remember, there's depression in here. This mental slavery has a lot to do with what goes on within us, in our minds. So that can help. Empowering others is always a good way, because when someone empowers you, you'll let go of whatever was bothering you, or wherever that sadness was coming from. And someone can come and just give you a couple of words of encouragement, and it builds you up. Then that energy takes you up. And now when you're out and you see someone else going through something, you're able to do the same thing, because now you were pulled out of that. So see, this is how we can break these cycles. This is how we can break this mental slavery that we're all caught up in. Mental slavery can be compounded by intersecting identities, such as race, gender, sexual orientation, and disability. Generational trauma. The impact of historical trauma can be passed down through generations, contributing to mental slavery. So that's trauma that has been passed down. Like they say, oh, well, your great grandmothers could have went through this, or your mom went through this. Do you not understand? Not even just that our ancestors going through slavery and all of that, but think about what your parents could have went through as children if they experienced molestation or any of these things that they could have experienced, that it has been passed down through you. That's why I say even our thoughts when we're carrying children, these things that went on with us in our lives go to the baby. So they could be carrying all of that historical trauma with them because it was on your mind or you were going through it. And when you got sad, it became a part of it, right? So we have to watch that. And also, if we get help, it breaks generations. Sometimes just by you going to get help will break the generational curse, because then it starts freeing things up. People are more aware and ready to speak more and talk more and get it out instead of holding it in. So that's a good way to do it too, just really working on that of breaking those generational curses. Collective liberation. Breaking free from mental slavery requires individual and collective action to dismantle systems of oppression. Remember, mental slavery is a complex issue with no easy solutions. However, by understanding its roots and impacts, we can step towards personal and social social liberation. Okay. Um, and so this is why this is important. And tomorrow, when we come on here, we're going to be talking about the different forms of slavery, because there's different forms. Now, there's five, because Abraham Lincoln freed us from one form of slavery, but there were still other forms we're still stuck to that we're never freed from. So that's why no one can catch on what that really means or what that looks like. So I'm going to mention them tonight. And this is why I want y'all to go and look at the Dred Scott case, because tomorrow when Brother John comes on, we're going to be talking about this. And we're going to also be talking about the different forms of slavery that we're still caught up under. And that just the one that freed us on paper. But still, even being freed on paper, you have to be free here. It has to be freed up here. So there are various forms of modern slavery, but here are the five most common, because we was free from one and it was four more. And these sound more like the four we probably were never freed from, if you look at it today. But we're going to touch on these tomorrow. And I'm going to leave you with these talking points so you can come back tomorrow to ask questions or give a demonstration. So here are the five most common forms of modern and slavery altogether, modern slavery. Forced labor. This involves compelling individuals to work through coercion, threat, or deception. It can occur in various sectors, including agriculture, construction, manufacturing, and domestic work. Debt bondage. This form of slavery occurs when individuals are forced to work to pay off a debt, often inherited or incurred through deception. The debt is intentionally designed to be impossible to repay, trapping the individual in a cycle of servitude. Now, I'm going to be honest. I used to rent a house from a man, and he was of a different nationality, but his wife, her family owed him money, and that's why she was his wife. She had to be sold over into servitude because that family owed him money. Human trafficking is another form of modern day slavery. This involves the recruitment, transportation, or harboring of people through force, fraud, or coercion for exploitation. It can include sexual exploitation, forced labor, or organ harvesting. Child slavery. This encompasses various forms of exploitation, including child labor, child marriage, child solidarity. Children are often forced to work in hazardous conditions, deprived of education, and subjected to abuse. Domestic servitude. This involves individuals being forced to work as domestic workers, such as housekeepers or nannies, under conditions of exploitation. They may be subjected to physical and psychological abuse, long hours, and little or no pay. Those are five forms of modern day slavery. Those are the five. We wasn't free. I feel like we weren't freed from those. This is still going on today. We got work to do, because we got to free ourselves from these things. This is where you see we can free ourselves from these things. It's important to note that these forms of slavery often overlap and can occur simultaneously. Additionally, the lines between them can be blurred, making it difficult to categorize specific cases. So it makes it difficult to even see sometimes that these things are a part of slavery. because of the way they do them and the way they hide it and the way they dress it up. That is a part of it too. So all nations have experienced slavery. And if you can see now, everybody's still a part of it. And this ain't got nothing to do with a color or none of that. Because you seeing people trafficked every color. You see people debt bondages, forced labor, child slavery. You see that all across the board. So it didn't just stop with us. It continued until they had everybody a part of it. It doesn't stop until we stop it. Until we learn to stand up, until we change our mind state, you guys. It doesn't have to be radical. It doesn't have to be ugly. You don't have to do none of that. We move in love. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Islamism is the practice of Islam. And Islam has nothing to do with being radical. Y'all hear me say them laws. If we had anything to do with radical, he says, do not be radical. Don't speak against the church. Don't speak against the American flag. Don't speak against anyone in any organized group, because we are to teach love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Love, truth, peace, freedom, because it's just us. It's just us. But we got to move on those so it can be just us and justice can be served. But we move in love. Truth never changes or passes away, so they can't get mad at you if it's the truth. Peace is what we're obtaining. Everyone's looking for peace. And freedom comes after that. Once we obtain that peace, that freedom comes. Then it's just us. It's just us. Justice really does prevail. Justice prevails. That's where we at in this thing. This is where we're going. So mental slavery, watching your thoughts. That's why I said I challenge you for 7 days. And man, I done started over ever since I challenged y'all. Because man, I'm telling you, when the young man said you can't imagine the negative thoughts that go through your mind and how many negative thoughts you have every day. So I challenge you for 7 days to not think nothing negative, to not speak nothing negative. And if you do think anything negative, because remember I said everything starts with a thought, because then it's going to come out your mouth and you're going to manifest it. Start over. Start over again. I'm telling y'all, I done started over since I told y'all about it. I'm still starting. I had to start over today. I was like, dang, I did it twice today. I told myself, start over tomorrow. Start over. If we get our thoughts together, we can raise ourselves to infinite wisdom. Back to the highest plane of life with our Father, God, Allah. Whether that's God to you, whether that's Allah to you, whether it's Yahweh to you, we can raise our thoughts to infinite wisdom. And we don't have to stay stuck in this lower vibration. We don't have to stay stuck here, because they're about to come out here and tell y'all about that fifth element. They're about to come and tell you about the ether if you've never understood about the ether. That's spirit. So raising our thoughts to infinite wisdom is a thing. It takes us out of mental slavery because we're still so caught up in it. You're not going to find it in man. You're not. That's why the prophet said, imitate I, the prophet. Imitate I, the prophet. Imitate the way the prophet did things, the way the prophet showed up. That's why he said, imitate I, the prophet. If it was anyone else with him, he would have said, imitate I, the prophet, and my homies. But he did not. He said, imitate I, the prophet. Singular. This is why it's important to understand what resurrection is. This is why it's very important to understand that, because you have to resurrect even within yourself. You have to raise your thoughts. You have to come up out of your dead state to raise your thoughts to infinite wisdom. So you have to be reborn again. You literally have to be reborn again in your mind. You have to renew the mind. Everyone thinks this is a physical death. No, you got to kill that negative thinking. You got to let go of all that's in there that is doing you no good. And you have to shed that thing. And you have to raise your thoughts up. You have to come out of this lower self, that lower energy of lewdness, slander, everything that harms, everything that's mean. You have to come up out of that. Because until we come up out of that, nothing's coming to peace around here. And that has to be for everyone. That's why I was saying yesterday, we're being forced to come together. So we have to let go of this mental slavery within ourselves. Because once we can let go of the mental slavery that abides within us, then we're able to reach our brother and sister. And each one teach one, so you ain't got to reach a lot of them. You don't need a million of them. You don't need thousands of followers. You don't need all that. You just need a few, even if it's your children. We have to start shifting this thing. It takes work. It's not easy work, but as long as we continue to do the work, we'll see the beauty of all of this. We'll enjoy our harvest from the seeds we planted. We will enjoy our harvest, y'all. But it starts with us because it's just us. That's all it is us. It's just us. So we got to move on that. So tomorrow I want y'all to come and check us out for this part 2 of mental slavery, as Brother John is going to break down the different forms of slavery and the ones we were never freed from. The ones we were never freed from and have no idea that we weren't freed from those. We was freed from one. And that's where you get the Emancipation Proclamation. We're going to go into all that tomorrow. Islam, all that's going to go down tomorrow. So you have to come back here at 7 o'clock, 7:30, I believe it is, and he will be on, and you can ask the questions. That's why I gave y'all those talking points, even based off of the different types of slavery, because we're going to talk about those other 4. Islam. So to the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, Islam, this is the instruction from your prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Be faithful unto your forefathers' divine and national creed, that you will be blessed for your good deeds that you sow in the flesh. Allah is the one that judges the world, and his judgment is now on. But the weak can comprehend it not. The end of time is drawing near, so says Allah to his divine prophet, I, Noble Drew Ali. And this is why many hearts have been turned to stone, and many have eyes to see but cannot see, ears to hear but cannot hear, lest they would be confounded of their sins. These are the trying hours now, dear Moors, and every evil spirit is moving, and they are trying every weak mind to overthrow and drag out the true foundation that has been laid, and to cause confusion in the minds of the ones that do believe. But if you have the true love of Allah and the spirit of your forefathers, you fear not what you hear or see, but will sacrifice the utmost of your very life to protect your movement and your prophet. Watch your enemies, dear Moors. Your enemies are the ones that speak against your prophet and ridicule him to the very lowest, and the ones that speak against your divine and national principles of your temple. Act accordingly, and Allah will bless you for your good work. Peace, your divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Islam, Islam, Islam. All meetings are to be opened and closed promptly according to the Circle 7, and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We're going to say our prayer. We put up 5 fingers on the left, 2 on the right, with our heels touching one another, standing on our square at a 45-degree angle. Repeat after me. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Islam family, I look forward to seeing y'all tomorrow as we return to this second part of mental slavery.